What is up, fanatics, fan guy addicts? It's your boy, Josh Fanguy, back here for you with another edition of our Draftkings analysis, fan guys picks. So what we're gonna do today is go over some of the games on the slate. I'm gonna let you know my favorite picks for this week. Give you a little bit of reasoning as to why we're going the way we're going with a few things, and I'm even going to do actually enter a DraftKings lineup as we go along. So sorry I haven't been with you guys the first few weeks. It's been a little crazy. I just got moved and stuff, but we're gonna be with you hopefully every single week for the rest of the season. And so let's just get right into it. Let's talk some football. So what we're looking at this week, week 4, is a lot of weird weather situations that I think are going to impact some of these games pretty heavily. So the games I think that it's important that we take into account are going to have some pretty bad weather is the Buffalo Baltimore game, which is interesting because that has a lot of high scoring potential and stuff. So that's obviously a game that is very important, that the weather is not great. Panthers Cardinals also looks to be rainy, not super windy, but is going to have some rain, unlike the Bills Ravens, which is going to be both windy and rainy. Very relevant. Bears Giants, also going to be rainy and very windy. And the Jets Eagles, also not Jags Eagles, sorry, Jags Eagles, also going to be bad weather conditions. So we have to really take these things into account. Obviously, if like you're playing a normal fantasy league and you're playing, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or something, you're not going to have a better option. And those two guys are interesting because the rain could actually help them in the running department. So that could get a little interesting with that. But most of your quarterbacks in these games, their value is going to go down. A lot of the receivers, the values are going to go down. So if you have a really close decision between maybe a receiver who's in one of these games, a guy like, I don't know, any receiver in this game not named Diggs, and I think even his value takes a hit, but like, let's say like Devontae Smith. I don't want, I have Devontae Smith in several of my actual fantasy leagues, and I don't want anything to do with him this week. So, there's just certain situations where if you have a close call, two guys that are close in value, maybe take into account some of these weather situations, and it'll help you lean a different way. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of these things. Okay, so again, right at the top of the slate, we got Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson at 84 and 8,300 respectively. Jalen Hurts right behind them at 8,200. These are all the rushing quarterbacks, and they are all in games that have weather issues this week. So, obviously, if you're looking to splurge on a quarterback, all of these guys have very high scoring rushing potential this week. And because they are all rushing quarterbacks, they could, eat just on the ground. But keep your expectations of their passing yardage in these games to a minimum because they may not deliver. So for me, I'm actually going to fade these three on most of my lineups this week. I will probably play at least a couple of lineups with each of them in there just because I do think that they have such high scoring potential. But also, for the most part, I'm not looking to focus on these three guys. Kyler Murray, again, Carolina. I actually think Arizona is going to take it to Carolina. And sorry about that. It was a fantasy football text. And so, I think Arizona's going to take it to Carolina. So in that game, I'm preferring John Connor than the passing game of Arizona. I think this might be a slightly lower scoring game. And I anticipate it to not be a super high scoring game. So I'm also fading Kyler Murray. Justin Herbert, where I come from, we call him A-Bear. But beside the point, Justin Herbert is one of my favorite quarterbacks of the week. I do think that the Chargers are going to curb stomp Houston, but I don't think they really put their foot on the brake much. They're a pretty high passing oriented offense. I don't really see, they're a very fast paced offense, so they have a lot of, possibility to put up a lot of points. Houston actually has a decent pass defense this year, but I actually like Herbert for his price more than some of the guys ahead of him. I think he's got really high potential this week, but I am high on Austin Eckler as well. And they might both eat because Eckler catches 10 passes in this game, but you know I'm pretty high on these guys. I'm also high on Russell Wilson. It could just be because this is like my favorite matchup of the week. Vegas has a pretty really bad pass defense, and all the other weather games, and then there's just situations in every game I don't like. I actually like Andy Dalton this week, but he's not on the main slate because they're playing, over the pond. Um, but yeah, for Russell Wilson's price against a bad defense, they're on the road. I actually think this could be a higher scoring game. I'm a little, I don't even hate Derek Carr, um, because even though Denver's pass defense is like super stout, I don't even hate Derek Carr, because I just think this will be one of the higher scoring games. It doesn't necessarily have to go that way, but I do believe that it will go that way. So I like Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers, man, I don't know. He's been, not great this season so far. He's still Aaron Rodgers. They're playing against New England. New England this year hasn't really been great, but I think New England always has a pretty good defense. They are in Green Bay, which I think says a lot. This could be Aaron Rodgers' first good game of the year, but I wouldn't bet on it. I'm not betting on it. I'm pretty much fading him at this price. We still don't even know who his it could be, everybody's saying Romeo Dobbs is his top target, but I don't even know if we know that for sure. So, I'm fading him, but, I will, with the caveat that, there's a chance that this could be his week. He gets to put it to Belichick at home. It could happen. Wentz at Dallas. Okay, so Wentz has actually been really good this year. And with Dak still out and Cooper Rush still in, Dallas is going to play more of a controlled style of game. What that's usually going to do is slow the pace of the game down to be a very slow, plodding affair. I don't like, despite Dallas being 3-0 with Cooper Rush or 2-0 with him, whatever, I'm not crazy about Dallas even at home. I don't, I think Washington is actually going to take an early lead in this game. I actually believe that. And so I don't necessarily think Washington's going to throw the ball a ton. I think they might lean on more of an Antonio Gibson game plan this week. So we'll see how that goes. Washington has been very pass happy. So this is also a spot where I don't hate Wentz. I like him just fine. He could have a big day. He has already been very good this season. But for my taste, I actually think this is going to be a lower scoring game that Washington is going to hold the lead and kind of grind throughout. And I think it's going to be a close game. Okay, so Goff. I really liked Goff before the Sun God got announced to be out this week. Amon-Ra St. Brown. With him being out, I think that's a huge hit to Jared Goff's stock, as those two have a great connection. So this week in that game, I'm looking more for like Jamal Williams with the absence of Swift, and I'm going to be looking for maybe a little bit of Hawkinson, the tight end, as I think that without Amon-Ra there, he's going to be a very comfortable target for Goff. You could also see a game from DJ Chark. I haven't seen his price yet. We'll take a look at that in a second, but that's also something to keep in mind. But all in all, without Amon-Ra, I'm not crazy about Jared Goff this week. Derek Carr. Okay, so of the guys in this area, I actually like him, even though he's playing against arguably the toughest pass defense in Denver. I just think this is going to be, again, I don't know why. I just believe this is going to be a slightly higher scoring game. I think both these offenses are going to click in this game. If Denver's smart, they'll funnel on Devontae Adams. If they're not, they'll test him and probably get burnt. So this game could go in a lot of ways. Derek Carr, again, not my favorite quarterback of the week. But if you're looking for somebody in this price range, I would like him over Goff. I have him and Wentz about the same, and I definitely like him over the guys right below him. So Trevor Lawrence, he's coming around. Problem is, this game's going to be in some not great weather conditions. So I'm definitely not playing any of the quarterbacks from this game. Well, maybe Jalen Hurts, if again, he's got a lot of rushing upside, but I'm not going to play Trevor Lawrence in this game. I think this is going to be more of a James Robinson game. We might see some Travis Etienne step up and do his thing finally, but this is a game where it's going to be a plodding run game. We might even see a lot of Miles Sanders in this game, so I'm definitely not messing with Trevor Lawrence. Mariota, okay, so look, Mariota's been actually a surprise this year. The thing about this is he's not. They're not letting him air it out. He's not really ever going to get you enough points to win a slate. So my problem with Mariota is his upside. I mean, I do see he has a little bit of rushing potential around the goal line. We've seen that this season. He hasn't been terrible, but I just don't see him having the scoring upside to ever win you a slate. Matt Ryan has been horrible this year. And while I do think Michael Pittman is going to have a resurgent game right here, I don't think it's necessarily going to mean Matt Ryan's going to have some huge game, because I don't think he will. Jacoby Brissett at Atlanta. I mean, again, this is just going to be a Nick Chubb game that Cleveland I actually think should control, because I believe they have a better team than Atlanta. And so I don't think Brissett's going to have to do a lot. I think Chubb's going to put in some work, and that's how that's going to look. Tannehill, you already know we ain't messing with Tannehill. I'm never going to play Tannehill on a daily fantasy thing, ever. Sorry, Ryan Tannehill, if you're watching this. I would rather take my chances with Geno Smith, as crazy as that sounds, than Ryan Tannehill. If you're really looking to scrape the bottom of the barrel, for me, it would be Geno Smith or Zach Wilson. So Geno Smith's playing against the bad Detroit defense. The problem is with Detroit not being able to throw, without their top receiving option in play this week, I do anticipate this to be a little bit more of a slow, plodding affair as well. So, it feels like the scoring upside's capped there. Same with Daniel Jones and Justin Fields, who are right by each other. That game just should be a very slow weather just pound the rock kind of game in really bad weather conditions. And so for that reason, I'm fading those quarterbacks as well. Cooper Rush, no, just no. But I would throw a dart at Zach Wilson if I had to. I don't think I'm gonna, but you could. He could come back with a vengeance. Pittsburgh's looked vulnerable this year, so I don't hate it. Mayfield, Trubisky, Hoyer, who's starting this week? I mean, probably not, man. I probably don't want to play or even consider any of those guys. But if you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel, you can maybe throw a dart at Zach Wilson or Geno Smith, as I feel like they have the highest potential. But all in all, I don't really like the quarterback situation this week. I really don't. So, moving on to running backs. So, again, you're just going to, I don't have anything against these high dollar guys. They're just so hard to fit into lineups, because it's just, their salary hit is so massive. So, Taylor, I do think Taylor could have a really good game this week. I think they're going to look to use him a lot. I think Derrick Henry also in that game could have a big game. As you can see, he's third. He's right behind him. But those guys are both so expensive. They could have big games. They probably will have big games. Again, I'm fading McCaffrey a lot this year. He's overpriced considering Baker Mayfield just doesn't have that same chemistry with him as he's had in the past. My favorite running back of the expensive running backs is actually going to be Saquon Barkley. The Chicago-New York game, again, the weather is terrible, and I feel like this offense is going to run through Barkley this week more than it already runs through Barkley. I also like Nick Chubb a lot. Atlanta's run defense has looked pretty good this year, but and my real concern with Nick Chubb is more of his snap share, where he plays. He's not a true 3-down back a lot of times. And so, but he's in a position to have a great game. But if you're going to spend $7,900 on him, let me just help you out. Spend the extra 100 to get Saquon. Eckler at $7,700. I like him more than Chubb as well. He's a little cheaper. This is a game where I even like Eckler more than I like Justin Herbert. Matter of fact, on this little lineup we're going to enter, I'm going to go ahead and throw Eckler right there right now. I like Austin Eckler this week. I just think LA is going to control this game. It's going to be a very fast-paced game for them. They're going to put up some points on Houston, and I think Eckler's going to eat, man. I really do believe Eckler's just going to eat this week. against a pretty shoddy Texans defense. Aaron Jones, I mean, again, man, you just the timeshare with him and oh, why am I drawing? AJ Dillon is a little concerning. He's a little bit of a better pass catcher as far as Aaron Jones, though they have been starting to use Dillon a little more as a pass catcher. So I don't really know. Um, I'm not playing much of Aaron Jones this week, but he could. The offense could realistically run through him as it could any week. DeAndre Swift being out obviously means that Jamal Williams is going to be mega value this week in that game. We go to Najee. Najee is one of them that I hadn't even thought about until literally this moment. Where I mean, Najee is a pretty good play this week. He's getting his good volume as far as opportunities, and the Jets are the Jets, man, and they're at home at Pittsburgh. I could see this being a Najee Harris day for sure. He's definitely one of my favorite running backs now that I'm thinking about it. I like Barkley, Eckler, Najee, Jamal Williams, my other A Bear, Khalil A Bear, Herbert, whatever. You never know. It's A Bear, man, where I'm from. Like I said. Those are my favorite guys. I like Antonio Gibson this week as well. I like John Connor this week as well, and Robinson. This is a weird week where I like a lot of these running backs. Probably just because they're all in bad weather games. Eckler's not in a bad weather game, but I still just like him enough where I'm just gonna slam him right here. I would like to slam him next to Saquon, but again, salary cap restrictions. Javonte Williams, look, Melvin Gordon's still getting a lot of work there. Both these guys are actually still looking pretty good. This is a spot where if Denver gets a lead, they could easily just pound the rock the rest of the day with these guys. So I'm not like anti Javonte Williams, but when it comes to trying to, and a lot of times you need, when it comes to winning a slate on DraftKings, you need the cheaper of the two running backs to go off. As weird as that sounds, because it usually fits your salary cap better. So in this kind of situation, it would, I would rather throw a dart at Melvin Gordon than I would at Javonte Williams. That's just me. Because when you look at their snap counts, it's really close to even. And I'd rather just a true workhorse back if I can get one. Cordero Patterson. So it says he's resting his knee. If he's not 100% going into this game, I'm definitely fading him. I don't like him at this price point anyway against Cleveland's defense. It's just too expensive for me for a guy who really only touches the ball 12 times a game. Granted, he's explosive, can have some huge plays, sometimes, multiple touchdown games. But, this week I'm just not feeling it. Robinson, again, this is a bad weather for Jacksonville and Philly. Robinson has been getting the bulk of the snaps over ATN. So this is a case where I kind of do like Robinson in this matchup and in this game. I think the Jacksonville's entire offense is going to run through him, and I think he's a good play this week, as is Mr. the Terminator, James Conner. I think this is going to be his comeback game. I think this is going to be his biggest game of the year so far. I think Arizona's going to utilize him a lot this week with Marquise Brown hurt, AJ Green out, Hopkins still out. Their whole offense just looks is just busted up right now. This could be a big Ertz game. This could be a big Connor game. It'll be one of the two, I believe. And I think Connor has a great shot. David Montgomery being out is a big deal because that game is going to be a running-based game. Zeke's looked bad. This could be his stepping out game, but he's really splitting snaps with Tony Pollard too evenly to feel super good about that. So Zeke's an interesting play. Probably not playing him because for the same price you can get Jamal Williams, who's going to be handling the bulk of the offense of that. Matter of fact, even though he's expensive. Even though he's a little expensive, I'm going to go ahead and slam him right now as well. Bam, those are our two running backs on this lineup. Love Jamal. Oh, no, it was Javonte. Damn, that was going to be a mess up. Glad we caught that. Cheaper, too. I think the entire Detroit offense runs through Jamal Williams this week, maybe with some Hawkinson. If I wasn't playing Jamal Williams, I would be playing TJ Hawkinson as my tight end on this lineup. I really believe in him this week, and I think he's going to get the volume, a lot of catches. I think he's going to be a great play this week. Where are we at? Kareem Hunt, again, I just think it's going to be a Nick Chubb kind of day more than it's going to be a Kareem Hunt kind of day. This doesn't seem to be a high-scoring affair. Kareem Hunt tends to have better games in, high-scoring affairs. Tony Pollard, same as Zeke, man. He's actually putting up better numbers than Zeke this year, but their price is basically the same now, and it's way too expensive to me for guys who split snaps. Antonio Gibson, he's getting the bulk of the work there. I actually like his opportunity in this game. I would much prefer him to either Zeke or Pollard for that same price point, as would I like Miles Sanders, who, even though they're splitting a lot of carries there, he's the most dynamic back there. And I do believe he has the highest upside, obviously, of the Philly running backs. And I do think that the Philly game with Jacksonville is going to be a very run-heavy game. A.J. Dillon, for this price at 6,000, I just can't. I can't, man. Again, you never know who's going to get the work there. And without knowing that, it's tough. Singletary. I'm actually really big on Devin Singletary this week because Buffalo-Baltimore slates to be a not throwing affair, and it's going to be a lot of little short passes when they happen and a lot of runs. So I think Singletary benefits from both of those. I would go as far as to say I think Singletary is going to be the key of the Buffalo Bills offense this week against Baltimore. And as I say that out loud, I'm tempted to take Austin Eckler off and go with the much cheaper option of Devin Singletary. I'm going to put my money literally where my mouth is. And I'm going to play Devin Singletary and Jamal Williams. Two guys that I just think have really high upsides this week. Melvin Gordon, again, if you're going to throw a dart at one of these guys, I'd throw it at him, but he's still too expensive for me as a guy who doesn't even play 50% of the snaps. Khalil Hebert, definitely love him this week. With Montgomery out and this to be a high-paced running game, I know for a fact that both Heberts, both Justin and Khalil, are going to find their way onto a lot of my lineups this week. Great value at 5,700 for a high volume running back this week. You cannot beat it. Pierce, he's coming on, but I still don't trust him enough yet. Josh Jacobs, again, I actually really like his price here at 5,500. Again, Denver, pretty good defense. So I'm not going to be playing. I'd rather, Hebert for just a little bit more this week. But Josh Jacobs is really getting the bulk of the work there, and he's starting to catch some passes. So this is a super good price point for the volume he gets at 5,500. ATN, this is where you can find some sick value down here this week. This is a spot where if ATN has his breakout week this week, 5,400 is a totally reasonable value to get him for, considering Jacksonville will be running the ball this week. They will. They are going to be running the ball this week. And if Robinson doesn't have the hot hand early and ATN has a hot hand early, you could see him take over this game and really be a slate winner this week in ATN. So he's a high risk, high reward play, but he's definitely someone worth considering. Hall, I don't know, man. The running situation in the Jets is so wonky, and now that Zach Wilson's in there and it's not Flacco, we don't know how that's going to shake out yet. So I'm fading Hall this week till we get a few more answers with the Jets offense under Zach Wilson. J.K. Dobbins. So look, the Buffalo-Baltimore game, as I said, this is going to be a running game. So you can find a lot of sneaky value here with Dobbins too. This could be his breakout game. This could be the game that, with the weather conditions as they are, this is going to be a grind game, I think. And if it turns out to be that way, Dobbins is going to be a focal point of that offense, especially if the defense is keying in on Lamar. So Dobbins has a lot of sneaky value this week at 5,300. I do believe this is a sneaky week for Dobbins. If you wanted to throw a dart at him for cheap, yeah, I wouldn't hate you for it. Notables under that, I don't know. You never know how the Patriots' backfield is going to shake out. Neither of these guys seem to have huge games. Same with Carter and Breece Hall. Zach Moss could have a sneaky game again, being a running affair there. It might be his little breakout. So Rashad Penny, uh, wow, this is interesting that he's so low. Because he does have a good snap share there. So Rashad Penny at 4,900. Man, I'm gonna add him to a couple lineups too. Just because he's so cheap, and I do, I think he's gonna get the work there. I mean, I don't like unless I miss something and I'm completely out of touch with reality. He is their starting running back, so it's very interesting to see a starting running back at 4,900, especially a guy who had the tear that he had last season at the end. So, Kenneth Walker, who people thought was going to take over, it played only a way less snaps. So, yeah, no, I think Penny at 4,900 is a lot of sneaky value. I'm actually glad I looked this low because I definitely don't like anybody below this. But Penny, man, for 4,900, let's go, Penny. I'm game for that. So receivers. Um, okay, so look again. If you got Stephon Diggs or AJ Brown, it's tough not to play them. Am I spending money on them this week in daily fantasy? No, I'm not because those weather situations aren't good. But am I benching them if I have them in a fantasy league? I'm also not benching them. So it's just important to know the difference. For me, their salary is way too high. Give me Devontae Adams, even though he's up against the toughest of those defenses in Denver. I think that Las Vegas, their offense runs through him now, and I think if it's not a Josh Jacobs sneaky day, it's definitely a Devontae Adams kind of day. He had a down game. He's due to come back, but I'm not really messing with any of these guys but I do like again weather with Diggs, weather with Brown, Adams just really tough matchup. St. Brown, man, how sneaky isn't it crazy seeing him as the third most expensive receiver? Your boy drafted him highly in some leagues because he knew it was up. Um, Sucks that he's out. It's gonna again hamper Detroit. But okay, so look, Pittman. I think Pittman has a really good game. I don't, I don't know how this running duel between Henry and I could see Taylor Henry, just this being a running back duel game. But Pittman just seems to be the it's a really narrow target tree there, and when he plays, and he gets so many of the targets when they throw the ball that Matt Ryan's kind of treating him like he treated Julio in his prime, and just keying in on him, just feeding him the rock, which is smart. He's a hell of a player. And so for that reason, I like Pittman even better than the guys ahead of him this week. And right behind Pittman, Mike Williams. I think this is Mike Williams' breakout game. One of the reasons I took out Eckler was so that I could do this number. Bam, bam. There we go. That's how we're feeling. We just added Justin Abear and Mike Williams as our stack quarterback wide receiver on this lineup. Love Mike Williams this week with Keenan Allen being announced out. I think this is Mike Williams' week to step up, and I think he's going to do just that. Marquise Brown, wow, I think this is a little expensive for him considering he's banged up. He is the only thing that Arizona has going pass offensively wise, especially with AJ Green even being out this week. So I do think if he plays, which he is looking like he's going to play, there is the possibility that Marquise Brown gets a crap load of targets this week because he is their only. He's not healthy, but he's their only playing receiver that's really good. Maybe Rondale Moore is a sneaky play this week. That's something to think about. But the weather here isn't great. I think this is just a James Conner day. Damn Terminator. And so, yeah, I have Marquise Brown in a lot of my fantasy leagues, but I'm not looking to play him on too much on daily fantasy this week. But he will hit some of my lineups. DK Metcalf, look, him and Lockett, they've both been okay under Geno Smith. Give me Lockett for the price point, even though DK's been coming on, and this is more of a DK game. But again, they're like a 1A and a 2A. there under him. They've both been seeing a hell of a lot of targets. So for the price point, give me the cheaper of the two. And with Lockett being a lot cheaper than Metcalf, if you're going to throw a dart at a Seattle receiver, throw it at Lockett. CeeDee Lamb, he's actually been doing okay with Cooper Rush. This is a game that I do think Dallas trails, and therefore I do think this is a pretty good opportunity for CeeDee Lamb to have a good day. My problem is going to be the Dallas pass offensive volume, period. And so I don't think this is a game where CeeDee Lamb has this monster day, though it could be if he gets all the work. But I just don't think Dallas is going to. They haven't thrown the ball a ton with Cooper Rush. It's been more of a controlled offense. So I'm predicting a 15 to 20 point day from CD, which is good, but is it good enough to win a slate? Gabe Davis. Again, he's a receiver in this Baltimore Buffalo game. Limited. I'm definitely fading Gabe Davis. If I'm semi fading Stephon Diggs, I'm definitely fading Gabe Davis this week. Just think this is going to be a lower scoring game than people think because of the weather conditions. I really do believe that. And that's why I'm fading Christian Kirk, who I've been high on all year. I've been super high on Christian Kirk this year from week one. I wish I'd been with you guys week one so y'all could have heard it. But I've been super high on him. This is the first week I'm not really high on him. Now, look, he'll probably eat because, that passing offense really goes through him. But it's important to note that the weather here is bad, y'all. It's not gonna be good, and this is definitely gonna be a running game this week especially if the winds are as high as they're supposed to be. Though this could bode well for Kirk in terms of if the winds blow in the right direction and the quarterback just has the wind at his back, Kirk is a very big deep threat. McLaurin, I do think this could be McLaurin's day to step out and reestablish himself as the alpha over Johan Dotson and Curtis Samuel. So I actually like Terry McLaurin this week. Like my gut likes Terry McLaurin this week. Don't really love his price considering how he's done so far. I think this is a little overpriced. But hey, I mean, he's priced that way for a reason. It's probably because he could have a really big game. Cortland Sutton, I've been high on all this year. I'm high on him again this week. I think Sutton could have a great game, and I will be playing Russell Wilson in some lineups. And where I play Russell Wilson, I am going to be playing Sutton in most of those lineups. Amari Cooper's actually looked really good with Jacoby Brissett. I have nothing. I can't even say anything about this. He's priced appropriately for me for where he's at, for what he's been doing. Some people would say he's underpriced, but it's still Jacoby Brissett. It's still an offense that's going to be running through Nick Chubb, and so for that reason, he's a fine play, but I'm definitely not playing him on this lineup. Lazard, man, I don't know why he's so expensive. People are trying to say that he's like supposed to be Aaron Rodgers' dude, but we don't know if he is. We just don't know with this yet. He could be, though. He could be. And I think that's why he's priced so high, is because if Aaron Rodgers, this is the first time he's healthy. If Aaron Rodgers decides to key in on him, it could be a big day for Mr. Lazard. Drake London looks really good this year. This is a spot where I could see, again, Atlanta. I think this guy's going to have a lot of games kind of like he's had so far. Like a lot of these, 14, 24, 12. I don't think he's going to have a ton of these 12 target games. I really don't believe that. I think he's going to get a lot of 7 and 8 target games. I think he's going to have a very good year, but that's not a high passing volume offense. They run that, they're a slow plotting paced offense. So they're not going to throw a ton, which I think caps his upside. Though, I like him more than Lazard for sure, and Deontay Johnson. So, hey, if you want to go with him, it's not the worst play. But I just don't like Atlanta's. They just don't throw enough for me to really trust any of their receivers week to week. Deontay Johnson, man, again, he's got the Trubisky throwing to him. So I mean, what can you really say? The fact he has the Trubisky thrown to him. He gets a crap load of targets, though. Look, 12, 10, 11. Catches a lot of them. No TDs yet, and he still had these kind of games. So this is going to be your guy who's going to have a pretty high floor this year, but very much a not high ceiling. And for that reason, again, I can't trust him to try to win a slate, even though he is going to have a really decent-looking floor. Lockett again. If you're going to go with Metcalf, just go with Lockett. Cooks. This could be Cooks' breakout game. I actually believe that this is definitely a spot for Brandon Cooks. Because, and I'm going to, there it is. Boom. We just made it official. Because I think Houston's going to trail in this game. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. Well, it may not be a higher scoring game. I think LA is going to put it on them. But I think Cooks being definitely Davis Mills' preferred target is going to get Brandon Cooks a lot of volume this week. Easy chance at a touchdown. Easy chance at 100 yards. So definitely like Cooks' opportunity to get some work this week. Devontae Smith, again, the weather there is just not great. So I'm staying away from him even more than A.J. Brown this week. Curtis Samuel, man, he's been a surprise this year, right? He mostly plays in Washington's 3 wide sets. And the reason that's relevant is he's not going to play as much if Washington's leading. And I think Washington could be leading this game. So while Curtis Samuel has been a super pleasant surprise, and I do think he has a lot of opportunity in games that are going to be competitive, and when they're playing teams that are a little more high-powered offensively, or even Dallas if Dak was in there, I think Curtis Samuel would have a much better, potential for a day, but I just don't feel that this is his day. Rashad Bateman, definitely not, given the weather conditions there. Jerry Jeudy, man, he's another one where, like, if you're playing Russell Wilson and you want a cheap stack option, you can do worse than Jeudy. His target share has not been great, as you can see. He had that first big game, last 2, not as many. I'm definitely going to go more Sutton on that line. Wilson. Okay, so this is an interesting one for me because I'm almost going to go skip to my next receiver right now. And I'm going to take him from down here, and that's Elijah Moore. And the reason I'm taking Elijah Moore is because what we have now is the return of Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson made Elijah Moore a stud last year. And so I am not personally messing with Garrett Wilson. I would rather go with Elijah Moore this week. He plays a higher percentage of snaps. He has rapport with Zach Wilson already. So I'm going to go Moore. I'm going to throw the dart at Moore on this one over Wilson. A lot of guys out here. DJ Moore, I just don't trust that offense, man. Robert Woods, no, we've seen nothing from him. Again, McKenzie's been okay. Been another weapon for Buffalo, but this is going to be a bad weather condition game, so even worse than normal. Gallup coming back. Gallup's pretty good value at 5,100. I would like him more than CD. If Dallas falls behind, they're going to try to throw the ball, and Gallup might be an integral part of that. Dang, Chark's hurt too. I didn't even realize that. Okay, he's going to play, and he's going to be their target this week. So you can actually look to maybe go DJ Chark. Again, I think Hawkinson and Jamal Williams are going to, that for me, they're going to be my preferred plays. But, man, there's nothing wrong with throwing a flyer at DJ Chark, especially on some of the, this is a single entry, which I treat differently than multi-entry tournaments. Because I think a multi-entry tournament, you need a little bit more long shots to hit. And on single entries, for me, I want to go with more of my sure bets. But you can believe that I will throw a couple darts at Gallup on some of my multi-entry stuff. Palmer, no. Mooney, no. Dortch, no. Brown, no. I mean, I'm not crazy about anybody down here. You got Romeo Doubs at 4,500. That's something that's worth looking at. Corey Davis actually had an okay rapport with Zach Wilson, too. He's at 4,500. That's something that's worth looking at. There is one other guy I love down here. Where's he at? There he is. Richie James Jr. So, look, I love Saquon Barkley this week. But if somehow Chicago gets an early lead on New York, that's their target, man. With Sterling Shepard out, Galladay looking like a scrub, just that whole offense being anemic. Their guy is Richie James Jr. This is the guy who's going to get the bulk of the of the targets. And for 4,000, you can't beat that. You cannot beat that value. This guy's a possible slate winner this week. I'll just call it right now. Richie James Jr. could win you a slate this week. Tight ends. Okay, so look, I don't spend a lot of time on tight ends because we're already at 40 minutes. I was trying to keep this 45 minutes and under. But look, if you're debating Andrews or a guy like Kelsey who's not on this slate, like, look, bro, if you have the extra budget to pay for them, go for it. Andrews could be really good this week because he's a tight end. But again, passing in that game is going to be eh. All these guys are about the same to me. I really like Hawkinson, but because I'm playing Jamal Williams on this lineup, I'm going to fade the Hawkinson. Go a little lower. I'm okay with all these guys. I'm going to go with Njoku. Just because he had a big game, he's seeing the bulk of their snaps. And I just like his price point. A lot of these other guys, their price point's a little high for my liking. Ertz actually could have a big game. Well, I'm going to take Njoku for now, see where my salary shapes out. So for me, then I go to defense. So I'm playing a defense in one of the rain games for sure this week, and I believe the cheapest one that I can get is the Bears. So I'm actually going to play the Bears on this lineup because they're the cheapest defense that I like a lot. Though the Buffalo and Baltimore defenses both are sneaky plays this week, as is the Seahawks defense without Amon-Ra St. Brown. But for this particular lineup I have, I'm going to go with the Bears. But look, as far as defense goes this week, guys, any game that's in the rain when I talked about the weather report at the beginning of this, you can feasibly take any of those defenses because rainy games make crazy stuff happen, and there's quite a few this week. So you could take Chicago, New York, Jacksonville, Buffalo, Baltimore, Philly, Panthers, or Cardinals. Any of those defenses are fine, So then we just look at what we have left. We have 6,900 for that. I mean, do we have James Conner? We don't. So, at this point, I may go Marquise Brown just because, this is me looking back at the weather report, and y'all are seeing how I'm thinking. It's going to be rainy, but not too windy. I don't know, man. That one's tough. I wish I had 300 more to just take Pittman. That would make me happy. Is there a defense for 2,400? Texans. Jags, huh? We're going to go for it, y'all. We're going to go with the Jags defense just to back up my thing about the rain. That game should be nasty, and I really wanted to play Pittman in this flex. So there you go. That's one of my entries this week. So that's kind of how I feel, guys. It's a spot where there's a lot of cool plays this week. A lot of interesting plays, and it's important to note that the weather is going to matter a lot. So I hope I helped you guys out at least a little bit with some of these weather reports and some of my analysis on the situation. Love me some A-Bear boys this week. All the A-Bears. Get all the A-Bears you can on your team. And good luck. Go win a big-ass contest. And once you do, let me know you did so I can feel good about myself for helping you. So much love. Until next week, go crush it and have a good time doing it.